All right, it's time for Answers Party Line today for your Wednesday, June 21st, 2017. Answers Party Line this morning is brought to you by Wimmer Opticians of St. Cloud, Atlas Family Chiropractic of Wake Park. My name is Brad Melke. Good morning. Some sunshine. It is 66 degrees. In studio with us, Dennis Fuchs from SWCD.
Good morning.
Which stands for Soil and Water Conservation District. Also, we have Rick Berscheid from NRCS.
Good morning, Brad.
Thanks. Good morning, Rick. Nice to see you. District Conservationist with the Natural Resources Conservation Service. I got to write all that stuff down, Rick, and make sure I give you the proper, shout out there. And also we have student intern, second year of internship with the NRCS. We have Justin Hubbard in studio. Justin, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing?
I am doing wonderful. Glad to have all three of you here this morning. What would you like to begin with?
Well, we'll start out with Pollinator Week. Brad, did you know this week, June 19th through the 25th, is the National Pollinator Week?
Whoa. You know, I'm so embarrassed I had no clue.
Well, we'll let you know all about it.
All right.
So, in 2007, the U.S. Senate unanimously approved the National Pollinator Week to address the urgent issue of declining pollinator populations. Since then, Pollinator Week has grown into an international... Geez, there's a bee around here. An international
luckily, there's no
celebration.
Flowers. Sorry, go ahead.
Are we bugging you?
Oh, man.
Stop buzzing around over there.
We didn't even write this beforehand.
Oh, hey. Gosh. The listeners are in for a real treat.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
So, what is pollination? Why is it important? Well, pollination is the vital stage in the life cycle of all flowering plants. When pollen is moved within a flower or carried from one flower to another of the same species, it leads to fertilization. And according to the National Academy of Science, close to 75% of all flowering plants on Earth rely on some sort of pollinators in order to set seed or fruit. And there are about 1,000 pollinator species that are vertebrates, such as birds, bats, and small animals. But most of the pollinator species are insect-type species like flies, wasps, ants, butterflies, and bees. There's over 200,000 different type of pollinator species.
Okay.
And a third of all food and beverages that we consume are delivered by pollinators. Within the U.S. alone, we rely on about $20 billion of products produced by the assistance from our pollinator species. So it's pretty critical, and with Pollinator Week, we can bring awareness to why they're important and what they do for us.
So then, Rick, what would be some solutions? What, have more bee farms, have more, I mean, there's more than just bees out there, but what can we do other than being aware of it?
Yeah, so whenever you think of pollinators, we always think of the honeybee.
Yeah.
But there are over 200,000 species of different type of pollinator species, and a lot of the native bees around too, and different insects do a lot of pollination for us as well. So planting fruit-bearing trees, planting other types of native forbs, or even a lot of the clovers, all those types of species provide pollen essentially for the pollinators to transfer around and to feed them as well. And recently here, we had a project here at one of our schools, and I'm going to let Justin elaborate on because he assisted with it. We planted some pollinators, and Justin, why don't you tell our listeners what we did?
Yep, thanks, Rick. I sure will do. On May 30th, actually, we got a chance to go out with two of our employees from our office, Kevin Roth with Pheasants Forever and Jason Selvog, and we attended the Pollinator Habitat event at North St. Cloud Junior High School. So I want to give a big shout out to North St. Cloud Junior High School for their contribution and their help on that day. We went out. It was an event held by the teachers and the staff. It was 2 morning groups. It was a total of maybe around 50 kids, and we were able to get out and plant a total of over 1,120 pollinator plants. So go pollinator plants. We planted those plants, and they should reach great size by the end of July and early August. So if you're in the North St. Cloud area, make sure you stop by and give that a look out. It was many people that contributed to this project. The partners included the Cabela's Outdoor Fund, DuPont Pioneer Bayer Bee Care, Minnesota Environmental and Natural Resources Trust Fund, Sauk River Watershed District, Minnesota Native Landscapes, St. Cloud School District, and Granite City Rotary Club. It was a grant project through Pheasants Forever to have the youth ages 6 through 8th graders to help plant and learn about the benefits of pollinator habitat. The area will be open to the public and will serve as an outdoor classroom at the school. Also, if you come by the office in NRCS, they're giving away bumblebee costumes for Pollinator Week. So make sure you stop by and get your bumblebee costume.
Dennis?
Why am I thinking of Saturday Night Live and John Belushi?
Justin, I was going to ask you, where did you get the plants from, first off?
The plants came from the Environmental Native Landscaping Services. Minnesota Native Landscape brought the plants out.
Okay. What kind of variety did it consist of?
It was many plants that consisted of a couple of pollinator species that Minnesota Native Landscape that she brought out. I'm not sure on some of the names of the plants, but it was maybe about 3 different species.
So like a wildflower, kind of a species of some sort?
Correct.
Okay.
Wildflower, some short. The biggest that they got would be maybe about knee-high, waist high. So, and the habitat also would be a good, comfortable habitat for the pheasants that we have around here. Pheasants like to hide out in pollinator habitats as well.
So there was a nice little area to plant all this stuff right by the high school there, or junior high school?
It was actually about 3 spots. It's very noticeable. It's right there by the bus ramps as soon as you get there, so you will notice it. It was 3 areas that was slightly tilled up for the planting, so good area.
Pretty hardy. These plants must be pretty hardy and pretty easy to take care of, and just let them go.
Hey, just let them go.
Let them go.
Yep. Don't have to do too much to them. Good rainwater that we will get will be sufficient enough for them. So they should grow up and do well by the end of July and early August.
Very good. So then with the Pollinator Week, Rick, just to bring out that awareness and,
Bring out that awareness, exactly. And also through the NRCS, we do have a few programs available to assist with planting pollinator species on working ag ground. So through the CRP program, a lot of our native plantings, we have those native forbs in there that are beneficial to pollinators. We also have a special conservation practice where we plant a larger amount of flowers per acre, essentially, in our mix, our pollinator planting CRP portion. And then we also have, through our EQIP program, the Environmental Quality Incentives Program, there is funding available to establish pollinator plantings. And then also last year, Minnesota was part of a grant, essentially, our Regional Conservation Partnership Program. And it was across several different states, Iowa, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, North Dakota, and South Dakota, that they put the $6 million towards improving working lands for monarch butterflies.
Very good, Rick. I got to stop you. We're going to take a break. It's 9:30. We'll be back more with our guest this morning on Chasm's Party Line right after this. Answers Party Line continues, visiting with Dennis Fuchs from SWCD, Rick Berscheid from NRCS, and Justin Hubbard, also an student intern, second year at NRCS, all with us in studio today. I had to interrupt you, Rick. You're wrapping up the Pollinator Week topic. What else should we need to know?
Right, so I was just touching base on one of our Regional Conservation Partnership programs. So across those several states that I listed earlier, there was $6 million put towards establishing habitat for monarch butterflies. So essentially doing our pollinator plantings and spiking it with a lot more of the milkweed and other nectar plants. So if anyone's interested in doing that on working ag ground, why don't you come in the office, stop by. If you have other areas, say you're not an egg producer and you just wanted to plant some pollinator habitat, half-acre size or something like that, and maybe on some ground that you have, stop by the office and talk to Kevin Roth. There is a program going on right now. They have some funding available through the Gen X program to establish some pollinator plantings as well.
Okay. Dennis, it's your turn.
Hey, thank you. Gosh, Rick, I didn't know for sure if I was going to be able to say anything this morning.
I had a lot of coffee this morning.
You're a little wound up yet. Now you're just on that down part of it.
Yeah,
there.
right?
Yeah.
So I got a question for you, Rick. Who said, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee?
Well, that would be Muhammad Ali.
All right. So that kind of covers the monarch and the pollinators
That's
all in
right.
one slogan there. I kind of like that guy.
See, pollinators influence everything, even boxing.
Wow, I got to write that down. All right, go ahead.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about 25 by 25. This is the Governor Dayton's initiative to achieve a 25% reduction in pollutants by 2025. And what the governor and the Lieutenant Governor Tina Smith have set forth is an ambitious goal of achieving a 25% improvement in Minnesota's water quality by the year 2025. Now is the time for citizens, government, businesses, stakeholder groups to work together to identify regionally specific priorities. I almost didn't get that word out, but I did. I did get that word out.
Yes, you did.
Created a shared vision for what a 25% improvement will look like for central Minnesota. The governor's office, with the support of state agencies and local partners like the Soil Water Conservation District, is launching a civic engagement process through November 2017 to gather input on reaching the 25 by 25 goal. They will use a variety of methods to connect with the public, and we will work with local partners across the state to reach a broad range of constituents, including all of the Chasm radio listeners. Input we receive will be used to design a legislative and administrative actions that will help communities move forward toward reaching a 25% improvement in reducing pollutants. The process is also designed to support local communities, build constituencies, and grassroots support for a clean water agenda well into the future. So the state agencies involved with the governor's 25 by 25 initiative include the Minnesota Department of Health, Department of Agriculture, Pollution Control Agency, Met Council, Department of Natural Resources, the Board of Water and Soil Resources, the Environmental Quality Board, and the Public Facilities Authority. And the audience includes all us listeners, all of us on the radio, local government, community leaders, businesses, advocacy groups, and the legislator. The civic engagement process is to engage meaningful dialogue with citizens. We need to meet with them where they are. This means traveling to communities to hear from residents like yourself, providing opportunities for groups to organize their own discussions, and have a platform for online participation. Across all methods, the input gathered will help us determine, 1, what would a successful 25% improvement look like for different regions? 2, how would making a 25% improvement enhance the quality of life for Minnesotans? 3, what are the barriers to getting this improvement? And 4, what is needed to help move beyond these barriers? Now, they do have some town hall meetings, events scheduled. And the event here in central Minnesota is going to be at St. Cloud on Wednesday, September 6th. And that's going to be in the evening from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. So this is an opportunity for you to come and actually meet and greet the state agency folks, and hopefully the governor or Tina Smith will be there to also hear from participants on what they think we can do to help reduce. Now, they did ask the Stearns SWCD staff and our NRCS partners what they thought would be a good idea in Stearns County for reductions, and we talked about a 25% reduction in sediment, a 25% reduction in phosphorus, and a 25% reduction in groundwater nitrate, say for around the city of Cold Spring. So those are some of the goals that we submitted that we think we can achieve with our producers and landowners here in Stearns County. And we hope that we hear from all of you to support Governor Dayton's initiative. And once again, that date, when that's going to be, is in St. Cloud, Wednesday, September 6th, and that's going to be at the St. Cloud Community and Technical College Cafeteria. And the time they scheduled for meeting is 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. that evening. So that should be quite an activity. The governor's been very active with supporting the natural resources in Minnesota. As you've probably heard, he already had the buffer initiative, and that was discussed in great detail again this past legislative session. And they did make just a few modifications to it. Buffers are still required on public waters, a 50-foot average, 30-foot minimum, And then public ditches are going to require a 1 rod or 16.5 feet. The public waters are supposed to be completed by this fall unless you have an extension with the SWCD with a parcel-specific riparian protection compliance plan. And we're learning more what that means, just like you are. But if you're interested, give our office a call if you don't have your buffer installed yet, and we'll work with you. And if you're working with us, the Soil Water Conservation District, you automatically have a 1-year extension to get your stuff installed by fall of next year. So it doesn't hurt to give us a call, and we'll work you through that. We have about 60 landowners already pursuing alternative ag practices. And alternative ag practices may reduce that buffer width. We need to get the same water quality benefit as a 50-foot buffer. But if you're moldboard plowing and you're looking at reducing tillage and using cover crops, we may be able to reduce that buffer width to provide similar water quality benefits as a 50-foot buffer. And we're still getting some additional information on how to proceed with that. And we have a much better idea now on how we can assist you to achieve those water quality reductions. So once again, if you haven't got your buffers installed or are going to have problems getting your crop removed and getting a perennial established by November 1 of this fall, give us a call and we'll add you to the list of folks that we're working with to provide technical assistance to get you in compliance. And I just heard that the Stearns County Commissioners have declined participating in enforcement. So that means it'll go back to the Board of Water and Soil Resources to assist with the enforcement. At the Soil Water Conservation District, we've been very pleased with the amount of voluntary adoption of the buffer program. We're at over 95% installed right now. And we're hoping that enforcement is not something we even consider in Stearns County, and that we use available tools of CRP, the Conservation Reserve Enhancement Program, and alternative ag practices to work with our farmers to get them in compliance.
Positive reinforcement rather than negative reinforcement.
Exactly. Yes, I think we got a great opportunity in Stearns to get this done with zero enforcement action.
But what if scenario?
Yeah, what if then the Board of Water, Soil Resources would be involved. There is an administrative penalty order that they're working on. They'll give you, the landowner that is out of compliance, some time to get in compliance, and then after that time period, there would be a fine of some amount, and I don't have those numbers off the top of my head, but it's like $100 to $500, and then if it continues to be a problem, then the fine happens at shorter durations. Instead of once a year, it's every day or something like that. So it becomes an impact. But like I said, I really think that with the tools in our pocket and working with the great staff in our office, we have an opportunity to get this installed with no enforcement action whatsoever in Stearns County. Like I said, we're already at 95% compliance, and that is phenomenal. We're one of the best counties in the state of Minnesota, like we always are. Oh, Stearns! But hey, that's just the way it is.
The 25 by 25, Dennis, you were talking about soil and water pollutants. Air is not a factor here, air pollutants?
Well, it's going to be regional specific. So if you're in the metro and you're experiencing some degraded air quality situations, that might be something that region would like to have as something that they work on. So that's a good question. So those parameters is what we submitted for Stearns County, and other folks, they might have a different, it's pretty vague on what those items are in air. It could be mercury. It could be any other type of resource concern in your region.
So each county has to figure out their own plan?
Well, each county is submitting their suggestions.
Oh, okay.
He really wants the communities, the grassroots effort. He doesn't want the state agencies and the governor telling you what you need to be working on.
Oh.
He wants us to tell them what they need to be working on.
Yeah, I'm just going to sit here. You let me know what needs to be done. I'll be over here. Yeah. Is that the deal? Is that kind of the...
Yeah,
okay. Just ask for their input. Okay, all right. Anything else with 25 by 25?
No, I think we covered a lot of it there, and I would like to give Rick a chance to cover maybe one more thing before I cover another item.
Well, thank you, Dennis. We'll give your voice a break here.
Have some more coffee.
I have a few events that are coming up that I have some save the date announcements here, just so our listeners can get it on their calendar. We know how fast the summers fill up, so there'll be more information coming out. But first off here, I have one for September 20th. This is going to be an event hosted by the NRCS and the Sherburne SWCD. It's a soil health field day. We're going to have a lot of presentations from the experts, including one from Jay Fuhr, who is the North Dakota soil health specialist. He does a great presentation. Also, they're going to have the rainfall simulator out there. They have a demonstration plot for interseeding cover crops into standing crops, and they're going to discuss the nitrogen source comparisons. It's going to be an all-day event. They're going to be providing a free lunch, hot lunch, and it is going to be at the Haven Town Hall in Sherburne County, so just on the east side of St. Cloud. More information will be coming out, but if you have any specifics, you can call the Sherburne County office. The number there is 763-241-1170, extension 4. And another event that's coming up August 10th is the Pope County NRCS and SWCD are hosting a grazing management field day. This one's more in the evening from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's at the Blair Farm, and they're going to be having some demonstrations and tours, and they also will be providing a meal as well. So if you need any more information on that, you can give that office a call at 320-492-2526.
Rick, go ahead. You got something else?
And I was just going to remind our listeners that we are gearing up for our 2018 Environmental Quality Incentives Program sign-up. So if you're looking at doing something here in the near future, maybe not this summer or fall, but say next year, if you're interested, I'd encourage you to stop by the office and start talking to any one of our staff members there, because the application deadline is August 18th, and those would be for applications that we would be looking at evaluating this winter and funding next spring to do any sorts of projects to address your resource concerns.
Rick, I don't know how that Exchange website you kind of came up with is doing.
Yes, so I just looked at it here recently for our board meeting and our staff meeting. We have over 30 users that are signed up that are actively using it. They're either cropland producers.
It being what? The Exchange.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Give us a rundown of what that was once again. Yeah.
So for our listeners, what we're talking about is the Grazing Cropland Exchange. It was a website that was created through the Minnesota Department of Agriculture to try to link together livestock producers with forage producers, meaning pasture, crop residue, cover crops, to try to get livestock back on the landscape and keep them there, and just to try to diversify our landscape more. So it's been an ongoing project that's been going on for a few years. It was launched here in March, and right now there are over 30 users on there right now that either have livestock or some forage base available. You just go right to the website, so you can go to a Google search and type in Grazing Cropland Exchange, MDA. That'll bring you right to that webpage, and then you can find out more. So if you're looking at finding some ground to graze either this summer or this fall, you can go out there, see what's available. Or if you have cover crops, crop residue that you want to add cattle to your, or any type of livestock to your out in your fields, you can go there to see what livestock producers are around that would be willing to travel there. And surprisingly, there's a lot of livestock producers that are willing to do a lot of work and travel a great deal of distance just to get their critters out there grazing for a longer period throughout the year. So check it out. It's starting to take off here. This is the first year, and I expect to see more and more users find out about it and start using it. It's pretty easy to use. It's a great thing for the environment. You're providing additional forage. You're not having to keep them in a feedlot for long periods of time, and you're just able to better animal health as well, and better for soil health.
Cool. All right.
Okay. Speaking of the Minnesota Department of Ag, they're working on a draft nitrogen fertilizer rule, and this fertilizer rule is seeking public comment. And the purpose of the rule is to minimize potential sources of nitrate pollution in the state's groundwater. and protect our drinking water. The rule presented is in draft, and they have information on their website if you'd like to know more about it. And the rule is expected to be adopted in the fall of 2018. And you're probably wondering, why is nitrogen a concern? Nitrate is one of the most common contaminants in Minnesota's groundwater. The majority of Minnesota households have access to safe drinking water supplies. However, in areas vulnerable to groundwater contamination, some public and private wells may have high nitrate levels. Too much nitrate in drinking water can pose a serious health concern for humans. So just a little background on the plan. The Minnesota Department of Ag uses the state's nitrogen fertilizer management plan as the blueprint for prevention and minimization of impacts of nitrogen fertilizer on groundwater. The plan, revised in 2015, was developed using a multi-stakeholder advisory committee and a public review process. It emphasizes involving local farmers and agronomists in solving local groundwater concerns, while nitrate from fertilizer is a key contributor. And so there's actually a rulemaking process. This has been going on for some time. The meeting here in St. Cloud is going to be Thursday, July 6th at 3 p.m., and that's going to be at the St. Cloud Great River Regional Library, the new library as you head downtown. And that's 3 p.m. on Thursday, July 6th. That'd be a listening session. You can learn more about the plan, and then you can also provide comments. Also, if you visit the website, there's an opportunity to submit comments there. Or if you just want to talk to our office about any of the concerns that you might have, we can get those to the Minnesota Department of Ag. And just a final comment from Dave Fredrickson, the Commissioner of Agriculture. He says, the approach is to involve the ag community in problem solving at the local level. We all need to work together to respond and address localized concerns about unsafe levels of nitrate in groundwater. That was Dave Fredrickson there from the Commissioner of Agriculture.
That was like spot on.
Yeah, all right, thanks.
Thanks, Dennis.
Okay, so how much time we got left, Brad?
You got about 3 minutes.
Perfect. I wanted to bring up one other item, and this is a really fun event. A North Fork in the Field Road off-road bike tour. This is
That's a catchy name.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, those are fun.
So they got a Fat Tire bike tour headed out by a Redhead Creamery. And this is not your average bike tour. Come to be part of a unique experience, a 7-mile trail bike tour through the fields of North Fork Township. Located on our farm, we'll have 4 stops along the way where some of our friends and neighbors and experts alike will share various aspects of agriculture, including robotic milking technology, land conservation, plant science, and, of course, cheese making. Make it a day-long celebration of biking, our environment, and ridiculously good cheese. God, I just think that is so awesome. So they're going to have several speakers out there, including Fred Bankston with the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, one of the wildlife management areas that are going to be highlighted out there. Also, we got Nate Hill from our office, Mark LaFave, and yours truly, Dennis Fuchs, coming out there to talk a little bit about some of the conservation we got going on.
You can ride bike?
I probably will be talking, and won't be able to ride bike, but maybe I'll have a Fat Tire beer later. Yep. And because I really do like beer. I don't know if you knew that.
I knew that. Okay. I got a dumb question for you. Do you have to have a Fat Tire bike, or are they provided, or what's the deal?
You can get more information by visiting the website.
Okay.
And it's a $50 registration fee. They will be serving brunch, and there'll be live music from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Minnesota-made wine and beer available in our shop. Oh, my gosh.
Beer and cheese.
Come on,
it's
people.
A good combo.
Let's get on out there and have some fun. This is over at the Redhead Creamery. They call it a North Fork in the Field Road off-road bike tour, August 5th, and it starts nice and early in the morning, 6:30 a.m.
Oh, boy.
And goes until noon. And then they'll have the band and music there also. So, once again, that's what day did I say that was?
Saturday, August 5th.
Yeah, Saturday, August 5th. So,
all right.
Hope to see you all out there.
Sounds wonderful. Dennis Fuchs, Justin Hubbard, thanks for joining us once more. Second time here at Chasm Radio. And Rick Berscheid, thanks for your time today. Do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Minute in front of 10. It's news time in just a moment. Chasm Radio.
AM 1150 KASM Radio, spending time with you for over 60 years.